Level 1. The kid, age 7 to 14. You are 7 years old, and you have just seen the most magnificent thing in your life. It is not the size of the truck that gets you. It is the way it moves. The way it floats over those crushed cars like the laws of physics are a suggestion rather than a rule. The crowd noise is so loud you feel it in your feet through the bleachers. The smoke from the burnout fills the entire arena. The driver waves from the cab, and 10,000 people wave back like he is someone who walked off a movie screen and into real life. You turn to your dad. You say, "I want to drive one of those." He says, "Sure you do, buddy." You go home and rearrange your entire bedroom to create more floor space. You build ramps out of textbooks and hardcover encyclopedias, and you run RC trucks over them until the batteries die. And then you charge the batteries and do it all over again. Your mom trips over an RC truck in the hallway at least 3 times a week for 2 solid years. She never throws them away. She understands, the way mothers understand things that fathers sometimes miss, that this is not a phase. At 10, you start reading everything you can find about monster trucks. The history, the drivers, the engineering, how the toggle steering system works. One hand on the wheel for the front tires, one hand on a switch for the rear. And you cannot imagine how a human brain learns to do that until you start practicing it instinctively on your RC trucks and realize that your hands learn things faster than your brain does. At 12, your dad takes you to a truck pull at the county fairgrounds. You spend 3 hours standing next to a competitor's rig asking questions. The driver answers every one. At 14, a man named Billy lets you sit behind the wheel of his modified pickup in a field and tells you to drive it. It takes you 20 minutes to stop shaking enough to put it in gear. You never forget that feeling. You spend the next decade of your life looking for a bigger version of it. Level 2. The Mud Bog Racer, age 16 to 19. The Mud Bog is a 200-foot channel of thick, dark mud, and the goal is completely simple. Get through it as fast as possible. You are 16 with a brand new driver's license and your Uncle Rick's modified pickup truck and more adrenaline in your body than you know what to do with. Rick is 38 and has been racing mud bogs at local events since before you were born. He lets you use his truck on weekends in exchange for washing it, maintaining it, and helping with whatever repairs the events demand. You would have paid him for the opportunity. The first time you hit the mud at full throttle, you have absolutely no idea what you are doing. The truck fishtails immediately. You overcorrect. You overcorrect the overcorrection. You come out the other side completely sideways with mud pouring through the window you forgot to close, engine still running, heart going at twice its normal speed. Rick is standing at the exit. He is not laughing at you. He is watching your hands. He says, "You felt it right?" The moment it started to go, you say yes. He says, "Good. That feeling is everything. Now let's talk about what you do with it." You race every weekend you can manage. You study the experienced drivers the way a student studies for an exam that matters. How they read the surface before they enter, where the traction is and where it disappears, how they recover when the truck goes somewhere it wasn't supposed to go. You start finishing in the top 5 at local events. At 17, you win your first event outright. A small trophy and $150 in prize money. You spend the entire $150 on parts for the truck without a moment's hesitation. At 19, you sit the commercial driver's license test, a CDL required for vehicles above a certain weight class, a necessary step toward driving professionally. You pass the written test and the driving skills assessment on the first attempt. You go home and watch monster truck footage until 2 a.m. Then, at a regional event, you meet Gary. Mid-40s, barrel-chested, runs a small monster truck operation out of Indiana. He watches you drive for 20 minutes, 2 separate runs, and at the end he hands you a card. He says, "You've got the hands for it. Come see me if you want to go further." You drive 4 hours to Indiana the following Saturday morning. Level 3. The Apprentice, age 19 to 22. Gary's workshop is a converted farm building that smells permanently of engine oil, hydraulic fluid, and the specific energy of a place where serious people do serious work. He runs 2 trucks. He performs at county fairs, state expositions, regional arena shows. Not Monster Jam, not the major televised tours, but real events in front of real crowds who came specifically to see what he does. He needs someone who can drive, maintain, transport, and perform. He offers you $28,000 a year. You accept before he finishes the sentence. The first time you sit in Gary's monster truck and he fires the engine, you understand with complete clarity that nothing you have ever driven before has anything to do with this machine. The vibration is total. Every surface of the cab moves with it. The throttle response is instant and violent in a way your uncle's pickup never was and never could be. Gary trains you before you ever perform publicly. This takes months, and it needs to. He teaches you the toggle transition. One hand on the wheel for front steering, one hand on a switch that controls rear steering independently. Your brain tells you to use both hands on the wheel. Gary makes you practice in a field for hour after hour until the toggle hand moves completely on its own without conscious thought. That is the only acceptable standard. Below conscious thought. Pure reflex. He teaches you throttle rhythm. In the air, throttle controls pitch, the angle of the nose. Lift too early, and the nose drops dangerously toward vertical. Hold too long, and the rear end comes over the top. The sweet spot is narrow and specific, and finding it consistently with a 12,000-pound machine takes hundreds of repetitions under Gary's watching eyes. He teaches you how to land. Every landing in a monster truck is a controlled collision. The forces on a hard landing measure at 40 times the force of gravity. Your spine absorbs that force dozens of times per show. The Hans device, the 5-point harness, the neck collar, the roll cage. You learn to respect every piece of safety equipment not as a formality, but as the literal reason drivers survive long careers. Your first public performance is 4,000 people at a county fair in Ohio. You launch the truck off the first ramp, and the crowd noise hits you like a physical wave, and you land it clean and come out of the slide with a full burnout that fills the arena with tire smoke. The reaction is unlike anything you have experienced before in your life. You are 20 years old. You have found the thing you were always going to find. Level 4. The regional circuit. Age 22 to 25. 3 years with Gary. More than 80 shows. 3 hard landings that rattled your spine for days afterward. Never missed a single show because of it. Gary sits you down in the workshop after a long Saturday evening. He tells you he has taken you as far as he can take you. You are better than the circuit you are performing on, and you need larger crowds and stronger competition, and the only way that happens is if you leave and go find it yourself. He says this directly and without sentimentality because that is how Gary operates, and it is one of the reasons you respect him. You shake his hand. You thank him for the 4-hour drive on a Saturday morning when you were 19 years old. He tells you it was your hands, not his teaching. You both know it was both. The regional circuit draws 15,000 to 20,000 people per event. Freestyle competitions where 90 seconds is everything you have. 90 seconds to make the arena forget every driver who performed before you and remember only you. You understand instinctively that Monster Truck Freestyle is not just driving. It is storytelling. Every run has a beginning, a middle, and an ending that needs to be the thing the crowd is still talking about on the motorway home. Your truck is your own operation now. A competitive monster truck costs $150,000 to build. Repairs after each season run close to $100,000. A small regional sponsor covers part of it. Performance fees cover the rest. The economics are brutal and thin, and you love every second of this life, even when the bank account suggests you probably should not. At a regional event in Tennessee, you land a move nobody in that arena has ever seen live. A nose wheelie into a forward roll. The truck rotating completely nose over tail and landing back on all 4 tires. You have practiced it in a field for 6 months. 31 clean landings in practice. The 32nd is in competition in front of 18,000 people. It lands perfectly. The footage goes online. 600,000 views in 4 days. Your phone does not stop ringing for 2 weeks. Level 5. Monsterjamuniversity. Age 25 to 26. The call from Monster Jam comes on a Wednesday morning. Not an offer to perform at an event. An invitation to attend Monster Jam University, MJU, in Paxton, Illinois. The official training program that produces professional Monster Jam drivers. The most respected pathway into the sport at its highest level. The place where the people who built this sport take promising drivers and make them into something that can perform in front of 60,000 people every weekend and come home safe at the end of the season. 3 weeks at MJU. The instructors are former and current Monster Jam professionals who have seen every mistake a driver can make and know exactly which ones kill careers and which ones kill people. They correct things in your technique that worked perfectly at regional level but would become dangerous at Monster Jam speed and Monster Jam scale. The toggle transition that Gary built in you, the one you have been using for 6 years, has a small inefficiency that costs you critical steering response in moments of high pressure. They identify it in your first session and rebuild it in 2 days. It feels completely wrong for 3 days. Then it clicks. Then it feels like it was always meant to feel exactly this way. The physical conditioning program runs alongside the driving instruction, and it is not optional. 60 Monster Jam events per year. Indoor arenas. The cumulative impact on your spine and neck over a full season requires your body to be specifically prepared for it rather than just generally fit. You train differently after MJU for the rest of your career. At the end of 3 weeks, they offer you a professional contract. Starting salary as a Monster Jam driver, $54,000 a year. You pick up the pen. Your hand is completely steady. Level 6. The Monster Jam Rookie, age 26 to 28. Your first Monster Jam event. An indoor arena. 38,000 people. You have performed in front of 20,000 before. 38,000 is not twice as many people. It is a categorically different experience. The noise in the building before the first engine fires is louder than anything you have heard inside a structure. When the announcer says your name and the spotlight finds you in the staging tunnel, your body responds to it in a way you are not fully prepared for even after everything you have done to get here. You are not just a driver now. You are a character. You are part of a brand that has its own history, its own fan base, its own merchandise that sells at events and online year-round. Children in your truck's branded shirt are sitting in those seats tonight. Some of them are 7 years old. Some of them are having exactly the experience you had at a county fair when you were 7 years old and said something to your dad that changed the direction of your entire life. That responsibility lands on you differently than any competitive pressure ever has. You crash at your 4th event. A nose-first impact at a bad angle that sends the truck into the arena barrier. The safety equipment does exactly what it was designed and built to do. You step out of the truck on your own 2 feet. The crowd cheers. The specific sound a monster truck crowd makes when a driver walks away from a crash. Equal parts relief and respect. You climb back in for the freestyle round without discussion. Climbing back in is the only available option as far as your mind is concerned. After the show, a 7-year-old hands you a drawing he made of your truck. You fold it carefully and put it in your bag. You keep it in your bag for the rest of the entire season. Level 7. The Contender. Age 28 to 31. Your name starts meaning something beyond the Monster Jam arena. Your social media following crosses 1 million. Brands approach you. Tire manufacturers, energy drink companies, off-road equipment sponsors. Your total annual income combining salary, merchandise royalties, and sponsorship deals climbs to between $110,000 and $140,000. The boy who spent his first $150 in prize money on truck parts is now earning more in a single month than his father earned in a full year. You win your first Monster Jam competition event in St. Louis. Racing bracket format. Head-to-head, 2 trucks, winner advances through the bracket. You beat the second-ranked driver in the championship series in the final round. The arena reaction when the result is announced is the loudest sound you have heard inside a building. You climb to the top of the truck. You pull out your phone. You call your dad. He picks up on the second ring. You say, "Did you watch it?" He says, "I watched it." Neither of you speaks for a moment. Then he says, "I should have known you wouldn't move on to something else." You both laugh. It is the best conversation of your life. The Monster Jam World Finals is still the thing. It is always the thing underneath everything else. 2 top 5 finishes. 1 second-place result that you have thought about on quiet mornings more times than you can count. This season feels different. You can feel it building. Level 8. The Star. Age 31 to 33. You are one of Monster Jam's headline names now. The last truck introduced before each show starts. Your face on arena banners 30 feet high outside the venues. Your name on event posters in cities months before you arrive. Total annual income between $200,000 and $250,000 when salary, royalties, and sponsorship are combined. The range from Monster Jam's top-tier headline performers. You headline your first full arena tour. Your name carrying the advertising, your truck on the promotional material outside every venue on the run. You walk into the arena on opening night of the tour and see your face on a banner hanging from the rafters, and you stop in the corridor and look at it for a long moment. You think about your mom tripping over RC trucks in the hallway and never throwing them away. You think about Billy in the field at 14 telling you to drive. You think about Gary sitting you down in the workshop and telling you to go find something bigger. You think about the 7-year-old's drawing still folded carefully in the bottom of your bag. Then you go in and you do the show. The World Finals has never been yours. That is the only result that still sits unfinished. This season, everything about this season feels like it has been pointing somewhere. You can feel it the way you felt the mud bog at 16, throttle down, the moment before the thing you knew you were about to do. Level 9. The World Finals, age 33. Las Vegas. Allegiant Stadium. 65,000 people. 6 drivers. 6 90-second freestyle runs. You watch the first 4 from the staging tunnel. 2 of them put down the best runs you have seen all season. The arena erupts for both. You clap genuinely because you know exactly what it costs to perform at that level in front of this crowd. Then you close your eyes for 30 seconds. You think about all of it. The county fair at 7. Billy in the field at 14. Gary's workshop. The forward roll in Tennessee. The crash at your 4th Monster Jam event. The 7-year-old's drawing in your bag. Your dad on the phone after St. Louis. I should have known. You open your eyes. Your name is called. The truck rolls out and 65,000 people make a sound that is not a sound. It is a force. You feel it in your chest, in your teeth, in your spine. 90 seconds. Beginning, middle, ending. The ending is a backflip. 2 full seasons of preparation. The truck hits the ramp and goes vertical. Rotates. The world inverts. For one moment, you are upside down in 12,000 pounds of steel, with nothing underneath you but air. The truck comes over, lands on all 4 tires. 65,000 people go completely silent. 1 full second, the longest second of your life. Then the noise arrives. The same force you felt the very first time Gary fired that engine and your whole body understood. The scores come in. You are the Monster Jam World Finals freestyle champion. You climb to the top of the truck. Somewhere in those stands your dad is watching with his hand over his mouth. You raise both arms.